Pledge complete. I finally perfected the strawberry samurai hairstyle. I also finished hunting all the monsters in Monster Hunter Rise. Pidgey hunts. Welcome back to a Monster Hunter Rise journal, the final one in my original pledge, at least until they add more monsters. But for now, we can put the strawberry samurai to rest. He can go retire, enjoy the strawberry fields until new monsters awaken him from his slumber. So if you've been joining me for the last 4 or 5 months, I made a pledge to defeat all the monsters in Monster Hunter Rise and also World, but we're not going to talk about that because there's a big black dragon that's causing me issues there. But Rise is done. This past week, I finally made it to Hunter rank 100, unlocking the final few monsters that are available in this game at this time, and I have slayed them all. So join me as I recap my last few slays and the whole journey that got me here and my high points through it all. So started off the stream with an Apex Rathalos. I expected this to be my easiest fight out of all 4, considering we're talking about a monster I hadn't met, aka Valstrax, a freaking Zinogre again, and a souped up Diablos. All of my arch nemesis with superpowers. So in Apex Rathalos, I was like, all right, that's hard, but it should be not that hard. I've never really had a major challenge with Rathalos, so an Apex Rathalos is probably going to be difficult, but not impossible. And of course, I fainted once, and otherwise he fell pretty comfortably. It was a nice, comfortable fight. I have really no complaints about it. It was a fun fight. Here, I was a little slightly disappointed at first that at Hunter rank 100, Valstrax gets unlocked, but you have to defeat him to unlock Apex Diablos and Apex Zinogre. I was really hoping to end on Valstrax because he's a new monster, and I haven't had a new monster since the Allmother. So anyways, I had to take him on, and I have to say, this monster blew me away both figuratively and literally as I got caught in his embrace of wings and got my face blown off my entire existence. What an awesome monster. I don't think I've ever been in such awe. My fear turned into excitement so quickly. First at this monster's appearance, that he's like a jet engine, just this like red dot flying in the air. Like his opening cinematic was really cool, first of all. And then I see him and he's just like this like beautiful, slick, like black dragon with like this shiny red thing, and then I see his wings open up and he's got like this blast coming out of both wings. Just fantastic, super beautiful monster. Like right away, first impression, I love it. I want to get in there, but I'm still like, whoa, my god, what's this thing gonna do? So going in, learning the moves, he has massive reach when it comes to the wings, but just watching this monster move was so interesting. From the way that he went, like from his wings in the back, he had attacks, and then he would like flip them in front to have like thrusters in front, and he would like shoot missiles at you. He would have like a final flash attack, which I stuck my face in at one point, and just like the like reach and slam, just such cool attacks. Not like it has nothing, no other monster has an attack like that. It felt like some kind of like modern machine that was embedded into a monster, which felt a little bit out of place but still in place, and it just offered so many new things. It was cool. The music to it was amazing as well. Like, just I love everything about this monster. And then there's a part where he charges and you see like the chest glow. I was like, oh, that looks like something I need to hit. And I go and I hit it a few times, and it explodes, doing like more damage on him and canceling whatever he was about to do. And I was like, oh my god, that is a mechanic where as a new hunter, that's fantastic, because it gives me as a new hunter to this fight enough time to understand that like, oh, here's a trigger, what happens if I do it? And it actually delivers. Like, it's not one of those fights where you're not sure what's going to happen until you experience death and you're like, oh, I have to avoid that. I see. You know, like an Alatreon fight where you're like, what am I doing? Oh, I actually have to do elemental damage. Like, I knew this going in, but the first hunters who took on Alatreon probably didn't. And they probably had to die many times before they realized, oh, you have to do elemental damage. So, Valstrax, fantastic fight. And then even like the whole thing was great. It was scary to be engaged with him, but like I still managed to fight him comfortably. One cart, not bad considering a first fight new monster. And then I got to see a whole new switch axe, a whole new armor set, which at first I was like, oh, this sucks, I don't get it. Like it's all like all sharpness, no sharpness. It's like red or white. And then there's like the attack slower. So I looked at this and I was like, this is no good. And the chat was like, hold up, man, you don't know how to understand or appreciate a switch axe. So we actually did some math and they walked me through, and I actually understood in Rise, you have the numbers you're seeing are true values, unlike World, where you have to divide everything by 10. So if I took my attack and I took my elemental damage of the Valstrax axe, and then I consider that has more sharpness, which has a higher crit multiplier, and I do all these things, I'm like, oh, I see, okay, that's good. And then I didn't realize there were like skills on the axe, which when I went to that menu, that boosts your attack as well. And then I look at the armor, and it's all about like you go into Dragon Blight and you get like affinity boost, attack boost, and you just become like a tank. I was like, oh, okay, this is a whole different build than what I'm used to actually want to inflict Dragon Blight on you so that you unlock like all these other buffs. Not what I'm used to, but I'm down to try it. So as part of an off-screen experiment, I actually want to try grinding out the Valstrax armor, just trying to do a whole build just to see what it's like. So now that basically the Monster Hunter Rise streams are going to be are done until they add new content into the game, in which I will bring the game back on stream, and that's when we're going to fight new monsters. Otherwise, I'm going to be keeping everything off stream now as I focus on other games. So finally, the Valstrax fell, and we unlocked the next my two arch nemesis. One of my world arch nemesis, Diablos in Apex form, and the Zinogre, which, man, that thing hurt me bad throughout my entire journey. And to have that be my final challenge in this game, what a like poetic ending to the whole thing. So Apex Diablos was pretty comfortable. He looked a lot cooler. I like his darker look, and I got hit by, I think it's like his like super souped up steam train like steamroll attack, because that thing is aggressive. I turned the camera around, I saw Diablos, and then I saw the camp. I died so fast. So I realized, okay, let's chill on the aggressiveness. But I did learn too, like, I remember the first time I took on Diablos, I was so scared of him, I kept trying to get away from him. And that's where he would hit me with the tail, with the horns, everything. Now I was always like, no, gotta be on him, gotta stick to him. I'm like a fly on poo. And I realized a lot of his attacks couldn't hit me because I was so close to him. So it was kind of a trade-off of being close. Actually, it wasn't a trade-off at all, because being close meant I would not get hit unless he did his like jump up and down into the ground, which was a cool attack. It's kind of crazy to see a Diablos jump straight up and lift himself off the ground. So Apex Diablos was a fun fight. Again, got a cart there, but for the most part was fun. Apex Zinogre, like I said, what a poetic ending. This monster I discovered first in Rise, despite it being in World. I fought it first in Rise. He destroyed me in village rank. He destroyed me in high rank or low rank, wherever else I found him. He just destroyed me throughout the whole thing. So, of course, I was fully expecting to die to this one too. But I think I've gotten so much more comfortable with my Switch Axe in this game. I have to say, I prefer playing the Switch Axe in Rise than in World at this point. I just know what I'm doing with it better. It's more responsive, it's faster, and I'm just more confident in its usage. Whereas in World, it's a bit sluggier, like more sluggish, that I'm not always pulling off what I think I should be pulling off. It goes smoother in Rise. So the Zinogre fight, oh my god, he was aggressive. Like my usual playstyle and everything else, I had to toss it out the door. Like I could only get in, like do one hit, dodge, dodge, dodge. Finally, like when he was down, that's when it's like punish, punish, punish. Like I had to play so much more careful around him. He did give me a cart, which I consider progress, because usually he carts me twice or fails the quest. This time only one cart. He did fall, but man, that music, like he felt like a final boss, and he looks so much better in Apex form. I love his color. He's like full gold. He's like got the Super Saiyan 3 look, and yeah, the music's cool. He's super aggressive, and it was a good rush. It was just a fantastic rush. And with that, the pledge was done. All the monsters in Monster Hunter Rise were done. So as I wrap up my journey here, I really want to reflect back on my whole Rise experience, because yes, it's the demo that got me into Monster Hunter after all, but I have to say that like when I got into Monster Hunter Rise, I was already like 50 hours or so into Monster Hunter World. I already kind of knew monsters at this point. I understood the game. It wasn't like stepping into World where honestly I thought I was going to hate the experience. I already had kind of one Monster Hunter game on my back. I was going in with a little bit more knowledge, so the wow factor was a little bit more dull than in World. And a lot of the monsters too I already knew, so there wasn't as much of a discovery. That said, it still led to a very different experience than World. Like, there are two different experiences, and I still had a lot of highlights with new monsters I met here. Like, I remember that the first few fights, I was going through and I was cleaning everything. I'm like, this is so easy. I know what I'm doing. I was just like switching my axe all over these monsters until I met Tetranodon, who's a new monster to Rise. And Tetranodon turned out to be one of my favorites just because of the moves, because of how the editor put together a video and like put all these memes around him. And he was also my first cart because he taught me, don't be so cocky, because that's how you die. I was going in, you know, with all my world knowledge, and he slapped me because I wasn't paying attention, and the games are different, the mechanics are different, and I wasn't paying attention to my life, and he carded me. So Tetranodon was one of my first like good memories of this game. This is also the first game I met Kezu. So unfortunately, or fortunately, probably unfortunately, my first impression of Kezu came from Monster Hunter Rise, and that thing too was hard. Like I was using the Charge Blade in the beginning of my journey because I was trying to learn a new weapon, because I was like, I already know how to use the Switch Axe. I didn't know how to use the Switch Axe. And Kezu was the one who convinced me that the Charge Blade, I wasn't there. I needed something that wouldn't bounce off him, and that's what made me switch to the Switch Axe. And I never looked back, and honestly, I had a lot of learning to do with the Switch Axe. So if anything, now would be the time to try a new weapon in Rise, because now I feel I actually know how to use the Switch Axe. So the whole lore of Kezu, I got introduced to here. There's a lot more Kezu to discover in the older games. This is also Zinogre, where I met my Rise arch nemesis of Zinogre. I talked a bunch about him earlier, so I'm not going to go over it again. The Rampages, my love-hate for the Rampages. Honestly, it was mostly hate to tolerable. Like, I still don't love Rampages. I still don't really want... I never crave to do a Rampage. Like, if I see one, I'm like, I guess I'll do it. But it's never like, oh, I gotta get some friends together to do a Rampage. I just don't care about that mode. I just don't like it that much. The Gaijin tutorial stream. So I had a stream where Gaijin actually was watching, and we watched one of his Switch Axe tutorials together, and he was giving me notes as I was trying to, like, I was watching the tutorial while trying to play the game at the same time, like redo what I was seeing. That was another highlight, which actually really taught me how to do all the best combos I know in the with the Switch Axe in Rise. So that was another highlight. You know what? I completely forgot this half of the page where I had some notes on some things I had learned at the end of the game. So I think it took me 60, 70 hours to get through all the monsters. And in the final stream, I was still learning things such as the bushes. Chat has been telling me to cut the bushes for so long, and I finally understood, oh, when you cut bushes in Rise, it unleashes like all these like buff birds. And also the buff birds, which I've mostly disrespected throughout my whole journey. Like for these last monsters, I was like, where are my buff birds? I want all the buff birds. And I could appreciate that extra buff makes quite a difference in fights. So all these things that were like clicking in the final stream, still very important because there's still more content to come out. But these things finally happen. Another thing that happened is off stream, I had to grind from, I think I grinded 20 to 30 levels off stream. And I really learned a lot in that time of just being focused and optimizing and grinding, specifically when it came to the talismans. So I explored them a bit on stream, but it's not until I was just kind of mindlessly going through hunts and like, okay, what else can I do? I should really load up on these talismans. How do these different melding things work? And then I learned to appreciate the talisman because I have so few 2-slot decorations in my armor. I was like, oh man, I really wish I could have more skills. And this one talisman where I had to merge like 20 talismans into like another 5 is when I unlocked some like special one, and it had a 2-slot decoration in there. I was like, oh, and plus skills. I was like, oh my god, these talismans can do so much. So the talisman grind truly began where I truly appreciate this. And I'm like, this is the end game grind that I was commenting on, that I kind of wish I was part of in World. I'm finally getting it now. And between fights, I was going back and getting like a whole bunch of talismans. I think like 5 talismans after each hunt. And by the end of it, I ended up with like a talisman where, without anyone telling me, without me looking, I was like, that looks really good. And I showed it on stream. I'm like, this is a fantastic talisman. It has, I think, a 3-slot decoration slot and a 2-slot decoration slot. So I'm like, that's fantastic. And then it had like a 3 a three level evade window and another skill on it. I was like, this is freaking fantastic. I was like, what else can I get? I haven't gotten anything better than that yet, but I like just appreciate this whole like lottery of like, okay, give me some talismans, get all these talismans, merge them into more talismans, keep making talismans, and let's go. Let's make talismans, because that will unlock more skills, which can unlock more of my play set, my play style. And I'm also now pulling up like these calculators off screen. I'm like, all right, what is actually like attributing to my damage output? What is causing me to like do this number? And can I get that number up? Okay, I need these crit multipliers. I need these sharpness multipliers. And it goes on. So I'm starting to be like in that end game phase where I guess this is what we call max mining, where I'm like, okay, how can I squeeze out more power out of my build? And I'm just like trying to figure these things out. And I really enjoy that part. So where do we go from here? So like I said in my update video, we're going on Tuesday nights, we're going to a Dark Souls challenge where I'm going to try to play that through the end of the credits. And Monster Hunter Rise, when new content drops with new monsters or anything really new that's worth doing as a stream together, I'm going to be slotting that in on the Thursday. And otherwise, I have a pledge to complete in Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and I'm eventually going to be revisiting Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate later this year. So I'll see you in more journals and more streams. This was a fantastic journey, and I'm glad I embarked on it, and I'm really happy you all followed along with me. So here is why these 13 journals is why I bought Monster Hunter Rise. I'll see you next time, and until then, keep it classy. I understood the game. No, Tetranodon, it's like this.
Yes.